Jahmyr Gibbs goes nuclear. I hope you guys had the 101 in your drafts yesterday. I hope you lock buttoned him on DraftKings because otherwise it was a rough day. I'm Pete Overzet. This is the Portfolio Review. We are going to recap everything under the Week 12 sun. We'll hit on DraftKings lineups. We'll do the underdog stuff, both the 6s and the 12s. Final week of Dawg Bowls is in the books. Then we'll look at some best ball and eliminator sweats. And then set our sights on both Monday Night Football and this Thanksgiving slate, which is already up on Underdog. I'm Pete. This is the Portfolio Review. Let's get it going.
I suffer from a debilitating condition known as atropic chalkitis.
Peter's one of the greatest depositors I've ever seen.
Trust the process. Let's go.
I got auto matched with Levitan. This is bullshit.
If I just go the other way in that 66, I win all the money. All the money.
If I had 150 lineups, I'd win too.
Process over results.
Illuminati make a bitch go crazy. I don't know which one of these my baby. Bust out AP, coach 5 bullets in your head like KD. Bust it, bitch go bust it. And I had 10 pints with me in Russia.
Hey everyone.
All right, GMs all around. How are we doing, everybody? I know who's doing good. Mr. ChrisGee is doing good. Punched his second Dawg Bowl seat of the year yesterday. Congratulations, G. We'll definitely pull up that lineup here in a little bit. Appreciate the gifted memberships here. And as always, David, like clockwork, you can set your watch to it. 10:02 a.m. Eastern time on a Monday morning. That means David is sliding in with some gifted memberships. Appreciate you guys. GMs all around. Don't worry, Steven. We will talk about this underdog turkey slate coming up. We got my guy JM, Mike Check, always bringing the positivity in the Monday morning and always asking me about my weekend, which is always so nice of you. Highlight from the weekend. We went over to a friend's house on Saturday. These are our study abroad friends from way back when that Lauren and I studied abroad with, and now everybody has kids and stuff. So we went over there. All the kids got to play. They did some crafts and activities, and we had some good food and drinks. And so always good to catch up with our old friends. So that was definitely the highlight for me, JM. How about you, JM? I feel like I don't always reciprocate and ask back in the chat. What was one of your highlights, sir? We got Chase, finished 11th in the BR. Love to hear it. I was getting tagged on Twitter as well. I know a lot of you guys had some good days yesterday, which you love to see. Expendables here, who I know hit a big parlay yesterday, sent in a $100 super chat on the Shipcast stream. Congratulations, Expendables. The coffee is tasting good this morning. You guys know my routine. I reference it. I generally like to go on some runs on Monday mornings before the show, and it's getting harder and harder to do so as it gets colder. But I gutted it out this morning, but I don't know how many 40-degree mornings I have left in me outside. We're probably going to have to convert to the indoor rowing machine or assault bike because I am weak. I don't have my David Goggins in me. I'm not ready to carry the boats in 30 degrees weather, I guess. JM says, daddy-daughter date with my youngest on Sunday. Great time. Love to hear it. Jets said second max of the Wildcat plus 250 this week. There you go. Look at all of you guys. You guys are cooking today. We got FK Coolers, gifted memberships. Thanks, Coolers. What did you ship? It seems like we're going to have a lot. Look at this. Holy cow. Everybody is in the Thanksgiving spirit today. We got Who Hames, previously been a guest on the Bash as well, gifted memberships. Awesome stuff. We got Frostgate here. Shout out the course. Slipped to second in 20 in the 3 max to a Philly Onslaught top 10 in DK with low owned DAC. Wow. You guys are on fire yesterday. Absolutely love to see it. I should mention with some references to the course, I did pin it in the chat. We're going to run a turkey sale, a Thanksgiving / Black Friday, whatever you want to call it. We're going to do 40% off the Underdog Masterclass. Obviously, it's getting late in the season, but all of the concepts in there are very evergreen concepts. So even if you want to squirrel it away for the off season to consume, this is the cheapest it's ever been and ever will be. I have been very hesitant, or not even hesitant, reluctant to do promos on that. Want to make sure that the price indicates the value that you're getting there, but we are going to capitulate to big Thanksgiving sales and run a 40% off discount here on the masterclass. So take advantage if you want. That's underdogmasterclass.com. You can get the full 40% off with promo code Turkey. All right. I promise I will get to all of your guys' sick lineups here on Underdog when we get there, but this show has a structure. It has an order. And as always, we do start on DraftKings, where I whiffed yesterday. I was coming off back-to-back weeks, cashing the SPY, feeling pretty good about how I played, and it all came crashing to a halt yesterday. I really liked my main lineup in the SPY, and it just couldn't quite get there. I'll read it to you guys here. I wanted to play the Drake May, Trevion Henderson, Hunter Henry block. I was pretty dialed in on that. I knew Henderson's ownership was going to be coming up relative to what we saw on the cram, but I knew it kind of had a cap to it. So Drake May comes in at 7.9%. Very happy with that, considering how well he was projecting. Trevion Henderson does get steamed a little bit, but nothing outrageous, 17.3%. And if you told me before the slate he was going to have 21 touches, or you told the field he was going to have 21 touches, he would have been 30-40% owned in this spot. Hunter Henry comes in at 14.5%, so he was not sneaky by any means, but he goes for 27.5 points. But May at 16.96, Henderson at 11.1, just not getting there. And honestly, like a super tilting watch. I mean, I think the Patriots at one point had like 8 straight plays from the 1 yard line due to a penalty and couldn't convert, turn it over on downs, just really inept in the red zone. That was massively frustrating. The rest of this lineup, Jahmyr Gibbs at 44.8%, drops 58.4 points. Played Jacoby Myers at 15.9%. He scores 15 points. Zay Flowers, who I really liked yesterday, loved the ownership, 5.9%. And he just narrowly misses a touchdown. He was down at the 2 yard line. He scores 11.9. My flag plant from the cram was not a good flag plant. I liked playing Romeo Doubs as kind of a double pivot, a pivot off of the Emanuel Wilson chalk, which smashed, and a pivot off of the Michael Wilson chalk at a similar price point. That also smashed. So 4.9% Romeo Doubs, maybe some Skolansky bucks there, but 4.3 points in both of the leverage angles I was hoping to pull with that one. Failed spectacularly. Kyle Pitts in the flex here, double tight end lineup to make this work, 5.4%. He scores 4.5, and then pay up for the Seahawks D, 7.5%, only 4 points. So, some things, working in my right direction. Always unfortunate to waste a 58-point score from Jahmyr Gibbs, but that is just how it goes. I mean, 153.66 points is just not going to cut it on a slate where there is a cash train. Look at this, guys. This is the SPY. What am I looking at right now? How many players? Do you see this team here? 477. These people are just tossing their cash game in the SPY. I mean, this is unreal stuff. Just a dupe train in the SPY. Are you kidding me? Is this happening every week and I just haven't noticed it until now because this is a really high-scoring lineup? 477 to, I guess I can't see where it cuts off, how many of these, but there appears to be about 30 teams that just dropped the same cash game lineup in the chat. So here you go. This is the cash game lineup that scored 40 more points than me. Brissett, Gibbs, Chase Brown, Michael Wilson, Jacoby Myers, Jamison Williams, Trey McBride, Emmanuel Wilson, Browns. That was the cash team. Unbelievable stuff. Unbelievable stuff. I spend all week, we spend all morning on the cram dissecting leverage angles, thinking about the best contrarian plays. And apparently all you got to do is press optimize on the solver, on Run the Sims, drop it into the SPY with 45 of your best friends, and then go on a daddy-daughter date and smell the roses. That's DFS in 2025. Yeah, Hawkberg talking about the Derrick Henry dropped a TD and got stopped at the 1. I saw that as well there. Schmo also tilting the Patriots stuff inside the 5. Crazy watch for my eliminator matchup. My opponent had Drake and Dig Stack, and I had Hendo. Yeah, some big swings there. I was listening to the Gillcast, always one of my favorite listens, with Davis, Sammy Reed, and Nate Noling. And Sammy's cash game lineup scored 220 points. 220 points. That would have been good for like a top 100 finish in the SPY. Unreal stuff. Let's see what took down the SPY. 263.04 points. RX Bandit here with a Winston to Wan'Dale Robinson and a Jahmyr Gibbs bring back, and then makes one kind of pivot off of Amon-Ra and plays JSN, and then otherwise just chalk stuff. Emanuel Wilson, Michael Wilson. Gesicki wasn't chalk, but a strong play at 2,600. Browns D. So again, very subtle pivot off of the chalk core here, but Jameis at 5.1% scores 36.24 points. Wan'Dale Robinson 7.7% drops 33. And then JSN at 8.7% ends up scoring what? Was that like 16 more points than Amon-Ra? I don't know if I can find an Amon-Ra up here. I want to see. Yeah, he scored 32.9 points. So JSN only outscored Amon-Ra by 8, but still significant there relative to making the rest of these lineups work. Dat Mavis, 5 memberships. You guys are on fire with the gifts. Thank you. Sincerely, thank you. And if you guys receive a membership from these guys, be sure to tip your dealers, so to speak, there. Yes, this was another funny thing. Thomas Wad saying Nate faded Gibbs in cash. Yeah, the Nate, when they asked Nate how he felt, and he goes, it didn't feel good. That got a big laugh from me. I'm with you, FK Coolers. He can't keep getting away with it. Back-to-back weeks of me fading Michael Wilson on DraftKings and him just shoving it down my throat. 42% owned Michael Wilson for 24.8 points. Just everything we wanted Marvin Harrison to be, except he's like $2,000 cheaper on DraftKings. I mean, we got to be done with this price tag for Jacoby, Michael Wilson, and Trey McBride. Like it's time to raise the rent. I mean, Jacoby Brissett, 6,200, Michael Wilson, 6,100, Trey McBride, 8,200. I don't know. Just figure it out. I'm sick of staring at these 3 at the top of the leaderboards every single week. I can show you guys my red zone lineup. I probably don't want to show it to you, but I can show it to you. Oh yeah. Yeah. You know, I was going to be on the Jordan Love passing game stuff. I get sucked into the Jordan Love stuff. He burns me, and then I say never again. And then everyone starts being like, oh, Jordan Love, leverage angle here starts to look pretty good. Utical starts talking about Love on the Bully the Sims. And I'm like, all right, I got my permission to do a Jordan Love. He comes in at 0.9% here. So I do the Love to Dobbs and Christian Watson double stack. That fails, obviously. Play Derrick Henry at 15.8%, Chase Brown 22%, Amon-Ra 26.5%, Mark Andrews 10.1%, and Devontae Smith 21.9%. Raiders defense here, just another really bad lineup, like hilariously bad, 116.96 points, comically bad. It would be hard to make a lineup this bad on a slate where the cash team scores 200 points, but I found a way. To do it. CT Kelly takes it down with a very similar lineup to the one that won the SPY. This one was a double stack, though. Winston, Wan'Dale Robinson, Theo Johnson. And I know I kind of zoomed past it when I mentioned Winston the first time, but can we just all marvel at that receiving touchdown? That was one of the sickest things I've ever seen. Just sends a defender to the shadow realm with a stiff arm, a little side juke. Like, there's not a single other quarterback in the league who could make that move. And that was just the gamer type of move. Like, Jameis Winston isn't athletic anymore. I mean, his 40 time is probably like a 5'3". I mean, he has that, like 45-year-old dad bod who's still like really good at pickup basketball. Like, that's the vibe he gets. He just knocks down every shot, but he's like sucking wind, trying to jog up and down the court. And yet just such a baller, that stiff arm. And getting in the end zone there, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it there. Jameis Winston getting to 36 points partly because of a 33-yard reception that involved him stiff-arming a defender. Absolutely. That juke, man, was so good. I don't think people are talking about that Jameis play enough. I'm talking about it right now. I had to bring it up. I linked to it in the newsletter. I mean, Jameis Winston, just the entire Jameis Winston experience. And there was some pushback, a couple weeks ago when they announced Jameis Winston the starter, and you see some tweets of like, I wish I loved anything as much as the fantasy community loves Jameis Winston, yada, yada. Like, I just don't know how you can deny how fucking fun this dude is. Pre-game, he comes out and delivers a pre-game speech that includes the quote, "We inside, but we outside." Or did I mix it up? We outside, but we're inside. I mean, what the fuck does that mean? No one knows, but it's inspiring. And it got the team fired up. I mean, what a go. 366 pass yards. No one throws for more than 300 yards in this league anymore. I mean, it's Jacoby Brissett and Jameis Winston, the only two quarterbacks capable of that. And it is really funny juxtaposed with the state of the NFL right now. Like all of these good, bad teams or bad, good teams, however you want to, define them. The Eagles score 21 points essentially in one quarter and then don't do anything the rest of the way. The Chiefs get bailed out because the Colts can't convert a third down. They look completely fake. The Bills lose to the Texans. I mean, all of these contenders don't actually look like contenders. The Broncos are a paper tiger. The Packers are a paper tiger. And yet the one constant in this league right now is Jameis Winston and Jacoby Brissett just dropping back and chucking it. You got to love it. You got to love it. All right, I got to pour some coffee here before we look at a couple more lineups, although truthfully, I don't know how much more I can look at on DraftKings. I think the best lineup I had on DraftKings this week was the Swolecast lineup from Tuesday. Yeah, the chat referencing the Rams. That's a good call. And the reason they didn't even come into my memory is because I was fast asleep after the first quarter of that game. I saw Devontae Adams doing his thing and said, I don't think this is one I need to stay up for here. But yeah, Rams do look legit. They seem to have all of the pieces at every position to make a pretty serious run. Let me show you the Swolecast lineup real quick so I can look at one decent lineup here. Here it is. T-Mobile. Okay, my best lineup scored 178 points, and that was still 22 points off the cash train. But not bad for a Tuesday lineup build. Jared Goff, Derrick Henry, Emanuel Wilson, Michael Wilson, Amon-Ra, the J-Mo Bagel. We do have to talk about that real quick. J-Mo Bagel, Brock Bowers, Hunter Henry, Saints defense. Honestly, if you're grading on a Swolecast curve, this is a masterpiece. This is a Tuesday masterpiece. But yeah, unreal stuff from Jameson Williams, over 20% owned in most contests, very popular to pair him with Goff, obviously very popular to pair him with Gibbs or Monty. He was a top 20 pick in the BRs all week. And again, the same thing like with the Trevion Henderson. If you tell everyone that the Lions dropped 34 points in a shootout against the Giants, Jameson Williams ownership probably even creeps up a little bit more. I mean, this is everything you wanted. The fast track, inside and outside, back and forth. This is where Jameson goes off. Dan Campbell's calling the plays, baby. Let's cook. Cooked up a bagel, a nice sesame bagel there on a snowflake bun. 0.00 for Jameson Williams. I do think like there's a lesson in here somewhere where these guys who are more boom busty, and I guess you could quibble with the fact that we did see a meaningful role change from Jameson Williams in the past week or so. So you can maybe say, hey, that boom bust tag is unfair. But historically, that is clearly the archetype of player he is. You want to play those guys at low ownership and you want to fade them at high ownership because there's such a wide range with them. So that's maybe the lesson here with 5,700 Jameson Williams at 23.3%. Was it an aggressive coffee pour, Frankie? I wasn't even paying that much attention. Maybe I'm fired up. Looking at all these snowflakes on my DraftKings lineups, firing me up. All-time bagel from JMO. Thomas played JMO in cash. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure that cash train, did you score the 202 points? I mean, that lineup I looked at, I think it was Levitan's lineup as well. I saw him post that on X. 202 points with a JMO bagel. Who needs Jameson Williams points when you're getting 50 from Gibbs and you're getting, 90 combined from Brissett and McBride and Michael Wilson every week? You get to play cash with one hand behind your back. It's just showing off at this point. Let's move on. Steven's now producing the show. Let's move on. Now, see, this is the thing about this show. It has to be equal parts celebratory, and God, sometimes that's hard. I make it real hard to have that celebratory angle at times, but it also has to feature enough tilt. This show has to always have some element of catharsis, and we can lament Jameson Williams bagels. I think that's what we're here for. Chris played naked Jameis with 3 bringbacks and still lost. Chris Riley is, of course, our cash game king who's made multiple appearances on the bash. Man, to get to Jameis with 3 bringbacks. So yeah, what, you played Gibbs, Amon-Ra, and JMO? If only you would have just stacked up Jameis Winston with his wide receiver 1, Wan'Dale Robinson. That's the insane thing about that team Sammy played that scored 220. Like, Wan'Dale Robinson was in the cash conversation in that he didn't project that much differently than Parker Washington, than Jacoby Myers, than Michael Wilson. Like, he was in that group. So if you were getting to Winston, you could have been scoring 250 points as a cash game team, which was essentially what these winning teams were. But I will take Steven's note and we will move on now. We will move on. All right, let's head over to underdog.com, where I had what normally I lose like 30% of my my buy-ins, and I say I break even. Today I quite literally broke even. I think I had $2,000 in play in the 6-mans, and I return $1,945. Which I'm not going to be one of those people who are like, oh, I'd rather just, get dusted or whatever. No. Like, I need the min cashes at this point. I need to stay afloat so I can keep chipping away in the coal mines of the BR. But let's bounce around here and take a look at some of these winning lineups in the main BR. So the top team takes it down. Cubby fan 168.36 has Jalen Hurts to AJ Brown, has Jahmyr Gibbs, who of course you needed. The 101 drops 49.9 points. You're going to need that. Rashee Rice, 20.1 points. Hunter Henry was the nuts at tight end, 59% ownership, scores 21 points. And then Emanuel Wilson, which we'll talk about here, he comes in at 37%, and he was obviously getting both drafted and getting swapped to by Josh Jacobs drafters. He scores 25.5 points. And that Gibbs-Wilson combo ended up being what you needed. And then, of course, Hurts going for 30 there was enough to get it done. So shout out to Cubby fan there. Chelsea, I know, tagged me on Twitter. She got 9th here, had the very similar team, but just had, what's the difference? Didn't have Rashee, had a 2v2 of George Pickens and Brock Bowers versus Rashee Rice and Hunter Henry off of the winner there. Congratulations to Chelsea. And then Chase here as well had the Hurts premium double with the George Pickens bring back, and then Gibbs and Hunter Henry. Really nice lineup there. Obviously, Devonta Smith, so close to a much bigger day. Really disappointing not to see him get it done there. I will show you why I'm lamenting the same thing, because my team into bomb that finished in 17th place here for $800 was a Jalen Hurts double stack, AJ Brown, Devonta Smith. It did, of course, have Gibbs. I had Javonte Williams in that game and then Brock Bowers. But, I'm sitting here after the 1 p.m. games and I only had Gibbs going 49.9. And I'm looking at this stack and I'm like, okay, it's basically the rest of this roster needing to average about 15 points each to ship to bomb. And the Eagles' first quarter, I'm like, okay, I think we can actually do this here. We have 5 players going. Hurts and AJ Brown are cooking, and then just everything stalls out. AJ Brown has that touchdown where he hits the pylon with the ball. They say he's out. Devonta Smith also down at the 1, doesn't score. And then the Eagles don't score for essentially 3 quarters. Brutal stuff there. There's multiple first and goals at the 1 for the Cowboys. One's a touchdown pass. One is to Brevin Spam Ford. One, Dak Prescott runs it in. So I'm sitting there with Javonte. Brock Bowers wasn't utilized for essentially the whole game. Like, Brock Bowers was so lucky to get to 8.5 points. He got probably 5 of those points in something that I wouldn't even call garbage time. It was beyond garbage time. I mean, the Browns were already walking to the bus. There was like 1 minute left on the clock, and he racked up like 2 checkdowns underneath as people flooded for the exits. So I was lucky to get there, but yeah, disappointing because I thought that this lineup might be able to charge up the bomb leaderboards there with 5 PMR plus Gibbs, but it was just not meant to be. RJ Rat takes it down with the Hurts to Smith with the Pickens bring back. Kyle Pitts, 3.5 there, but then gets the Gibbs and Emanuel Wilson combo, which you really did need to take down some of these tournaments today. Chase, if you can look at my lineup, imagine the sweat during the Gauss game. Yeah, man. I mean, that game completely just stalled out pretty much there. So yeah, I feel for you, man. I feel for you with that double stack there. Pretty interesting too. Devonta Smith doesn't even come in 100% owned. You know, those guys both had ADPs in the late 20s, 28.9 for Smith, AJ Brown, 27. I do want to talk about the Emanuel Wilson stuff. And I've been thinking about this last night and this morning, and I'm trying to figure out where I went wrong with it. Early in the week, I was clicking Josh Jacobs with the Q tag because Emanuel Wilson wasn't really getting drafted that much in the 6s, especially early in the week. So I thought that was a pretty easy 1-for-1. You take Josh Jacobs. If Josh Jacobs goes, and this is my thought process earlier in the week, if Josh Jacobs goes, you're getting a solid, second, third round value in the 6th round. If he doesn't go, Emanuel Wilson is going to project well. I think ETR had him projected for about 14, half point PPR points for most of the week. That'll be a clean swap. So I did a lot of Josh Jacobs clicks on, Wednesday night, Thursday, Friday. And then I kind of found myself paralyzed by the situation. And it seemed like with each passing hour, it was going to become less and less likely that Josh Jacobs did play. And yet, on the other hand, I still had no interest in clicking Emanuel Wilson in the 6-person drafts, because even if you have a 25% chance that Josh Jacobs is going to play, clicking a guy like Emanuel Wilson with your last pick, who will project for 5 or 6 points if Josh Jacobs was active, like, you're torching those lineups. And so if there are players like Javonte, like Ashton Genty, Jalen Warren, DeAndre Swift, guys who don't project that much worse, I just felt taking on the risk of Emanuel Wilson in that case was bad. But the reason I got paralyzed in that situation was because then I started to worry about the Josh Jacobs stuff of, I don't want to just use Josh Jacobs as a placeholder for Emanuel Wilson, because if Josh Jacobs does go, now I'm starting to worry about his projection and if he projects strong enough relative to those other 6th round clicks. And Leone talked about this on After Dark as well, that they weren't going to have Josh Jacobs projected for his usual workload in efficiency if he was ruled in. And so then I'm kind of sitting there paralyzed, where I don't want to click Josh Jacobs and take the risk that he plays and isn't even a good click in the 6th round. And I don't want to click Emanuel Wilson in case Josh Jacobs plays. And because I wasn't going to be able to do any of my drafts after inactives, I was essentially time after time staring at this Emanuel Wilson as the best pick in the 6th round. Like, if you're using the solver, if you're looking at projections or ranks, he projected best of anyone back there in the 6th round. And I basically just stopped clicking it. I just said, I'm going to eject from this situation. I'm going to click Swift. I'm going to click Warren. I'm going to click Genty, but I'm not going to click Emanuel Wilson. And part of it, I think, is it's just a tricky spot. I think another way to handle it, and I think Easy mentioned this in the Discord, and it's a really good point, that it was just trying to find another placeholder. And I think Easy suggested doing it with Samaje Perine, who I guess had like a Q tag, who was obviously going to be ruled out. But that's essentially what I was looking for, right? I wanted the placeholder for that click, because knowing then you have the flexibility to swap to Emanuel Wilson. And guess what? If Jacobs goes and you have a different placeholder there, then I'm just swapping to Genty, because he was the guy that projected just underneath Emanuel Wilson. So I think that would actually be the cleanest solve, is anytime you wanted to select Emanuel Wilson, find another placeholder. You're not always going to have that on every slate, but I just wanted to talk through that because it's something that's been in my head, and it was a tricky spot. And obviously Emanuel Wilson was the nuts. Like, if you get a 6th round running back at 35% ownership who drops 25 points, you're going to need that guy. And I was there staring at it throughout the entire week. And I think I was playing it right for most of the week. And then I was kind of a deer in the headlights with it on Saturday and Sunday. And I kind of regret, not getting more there. So there is my cope on the Emanuel Wilson situation. This is the other part of it. I started to talk myself off of the Emanuel Wilson stuff, even without Jacobs, just because I'm like, okay, he hasn't been that good as a rusher. Karain had a lot of good stats in the walkthrough this week about how his, success rate, basically by all metrics, he had not been, special there. Now, again, you don't really care about it that much because it's just a volume-based play, and you're like, he's going to get 18 plus touches in this spot without Jacobs. But the combination of him not being that good this year, plus the matchup, like Minnesota's been pretty good against running backs. So I'm like, this just seems fragile. Like, it feels like the kind of projection that I'm willing to sidestep. And that clearly was not the move. Yeah, I mean, this is something we always talk about. The draft games will be revolutionized when we can do individual swaps. Yeah, and that's the other thing too, of like, you're starting to ask yourself, how much Emanuel Wilson do you even want, in that spot? Because again, in a perfect world, you have your placeholder and you're swapping some to Genty, some to Emanuel Wilson, some to Jaylen Warren or whatever. But instead, I kind of just blocked off the Emanuel Wilson. I was just like, I'm just not going to deal with this, which clearly wasn't the right way. All right, so let's see here. Battle Royale, my best team, I had a top 100 team here. Hilarious that it was Patrick Mahomes. One of the reasons I had some of these teams up to near the top was because I had some Wan'Dale Robinson shares. I think I had 7 or 8 teams with Wan'Dale Robinson. He scores 26 points at 8.48% here. So that was really nice. This was my best team. It was a naked Patrick Mahomes, Gibbs, Derrick Henry, George Pickens, Wan'Dale Robinson, Brock Bowers. Apparently, all I need to do is not play the fake greatest quarterback of all time, Patrick Mahomes, and play the real greatest quarterback of all time, Jameis Winston, and then I'd really be cooking. Kind of tilting for me because generally, when I'm on some of my favorite scroll wide receivers like Romeo Doubs, I had a handful of Dobbs love teams. Alec Pierce. I had a couple Alec Pierce with Daniel Jones. Generally, if I have a scroll wide receiver I like, I stack them up a little bit with their quarterback. I did a few Rome Odunze with Caleb Williams, a few Jacoby Myers with Trevor Lawrence. But for whatever reason, I just one-offed Wan'Dale Robinson. Of the scroll wide receivers, he was the only one that I just didn't get there with Jameis Winston. I stared at the projection. I was like, he's just not in play here. I'm going to take other quarterbacks. So that's frustrating in that light. But one top 100 team here, another in 138th. This was a Mahomes to Rashee Rice, Gibbs, Warren, Pickens, Hunter Henry. Again, staring at Jaylen Warren here and not Emanuel Wilson is certainly frustrating. All right, let's look at the Deposit Kingdom because we had some friends up here at the top. 3 people from the Deposit Kingdom Discord, which is nice, right? Like, this isn't a gated tournament. Anyone can wander in to our special little nook on the Underdog carousel and hop in the tournament. But ChadCandles, who has been on After Dark, awesome dude's been streaming himself, punched a ticket to the Dawg Bowl. He takes down first place, $1K top prize with a Dak to George Pickens stack A.J. Brown bring back. Very clean there. Jahmyr Gibbs, Chase Brown. Two strong selections, obviously. And then Hunter Henry at tight end. 64% drafted here. Just a very solid lineup from Chad. The classic skinny stack, bring back, and then jamming the best plays there. We got Dap Mavis, who dropped in the chat earlier with some gifted memberships. He had the Hurts to A.J. Brown with the Pickens bring back. So basically the other side of that game. Jahmyr Gibbs, Ashton Genty. Genty comes in at 34%, 20.8. That was, that was a good one there too, where, we were talking about it on shows and it just did not feel good. Genty coming off the game he had 2 weeks ago. Cleveland's been really good against running backs. Geno sucks. That offensive line sucks. It's like, how does he hit this projection? I think ETR had him fairly aggressively ranked, with about a 13-point projection. And I believe Leone flag planted him on his show, Established the Million, and talked about it a little bit on After Dark as well. He goes for 20.8 points at 34%. Really nice click there. And then Kelsey at tight end. It was really Hunter Henry or bust at tight end yesterday because no other tight ends really did any damage. Certainly not the elite tight ends. And then Ploppy Dude, who hangs out in the ship chasing Discord here, had the Hurts to Pickens, the Hurts to A.J. Brown with the Pickens bring back. Had Michael Wilson as a low-owned gem here, 46% drafted. Jahmyr Gibbs, of course, and then Brock Bowers. So congratulations to our Deposit Kingdom podium here. ChadCandles, Dap Mavis, and Ploppy Dude. Let's see here. What other contest should we look at? I bricked the fullback dive. What took down fullback dive? Dak Prescott to George Pickens, A.J. Brown. Definitely like a correlation week as far as the Dak and Hurts stuff with A.J. Brown and Pickens hitting in a big way. Really needed the 101. So it then came down a lot this week to those what you did at the 2-3 turn with Gibbs. So getting to like the Rashee Rice and Pickens combos were obviously pretty nice there, or doing just Pickens with Hurts was the other kind of play at the 2-3 turn. Want me to look at the hurry up? Well. C-Rock wants us to look at the hurry up, and lo and behold, what do we have here? There it is, the same kind of construction we've been talking about. You go Gibbs at 101, you come back, you grab Brock Bowers and Pickens, and then come back around and you get Hurts at pick 24. So you get the value on Hurts, and then you grab A.J. Brown, and then what was the swap? Yep, Josh Jacobs. So this must have been an early week team, or I guess, up through Saturday. You draft Josh Jacobs, swap him to Emanuel Wilson, and ship the hurry up. Congratulations there, C-Rock. Steeler Man finished second in the fullback dive. Let's see it. Is this you, Keith? Dak Prescott, George Pickens. Whoa, Justin Jefferson on here. That was a click I did not get to this week. Only 6.8 points, but man, you were all over it otherwise. And honestly, like I'm not shitting on this lineup. I would have killed to have a second place in the fullback dive yesterday, but this kind of illustrates why the 3 wide receiver builds sorry. Oh, your afternoon only. Okay. Well, now I'm just reviewing a random guy's lineup, and now I can actually shit on him. Keith, what were you doing? But I will make my point that I was starting with here, which is just, I think this is why the 3 wide receiver builds are really tricky, especially when you do it in an uncorrelated fashion. If I am doing 3 wide receivers, it's because I'm doing like Dak double with a Cowboys bring back or something like this, because the one-off 3rd wide receiver, it's just so hard for them to outscore the one-off running backs. Because you look at the projections in the 5th, 6th round, and Genty, Jalen Warren, Emanuel Wilson, obviously, Javonte Williams, they're all out-projecting Justin Jefferson. They're all out-projecting him. So it's just a hard click to make, I think, if you're not doing it in a correlated fashion there with the 3 wide receiver builds. And you can see it week after week in the data. Nerdy Tenor runs his sims. I believe this week it was showing, I'll click in here to see 85% running back usage in the flex, 13.5% wide receiver. So again, it's not to say never. I certainly had about 10% of my lineups that were 3 wide receiver builds. But I think you want to be pretty intentional with how you're deploying that. Let's see here. Any other contests we want to look at? I didn't have any top finishes. I didn't get as many teams into the Wildcat this week. Oh, here's Coolers. I was like, Coolers, I knew must have shipped something here. Coolers takes down the Wildcat. Awesome lineup here. Again, very similar to what we've been seeing. Hurts to A.J. Brown, Pickens bring back, Jahmyr Gibbs at 101. Josh Jacobs to Emanuel Wilson swap, and Hunter Henry scroll at tight end there. Very nice work by Coolers. Anything else to look at here before we head to the 12s? This is always funny. I like checking in. So the playbook. So this was the draft we did. The very first draft we did 1 week ago today on stream. We min cashed in the playbook. We did the Drake May, Chase Brown, Quinshon Judkins, JSN, AJ Brown, Brock Bowers there. Not too bad. JSN 33, Brown 21, Chase Brown 14, Judkins 16.7. Our first look. I remember someone even posted the clip on Twitter. I think my guy Ryan Seal did, where Chase Brown didn't have an ADP on Monday when we drafted this, which was pretty crazy. Yeah, we took him at pick 27. He ends up closing with an ADP of 19.2, obviously. But there you go. That's your alpha. If you want to draft BR teams in the playbook on a Monday morning, that's where you can get insane values like Chase Brown without an ADP. Happy Ship Giving Week. Indeed. We do have, appreciate this, Tyler. A good reminder to fill you guys in on the show schedule this week because it's a little abbreviated. So I'm actually I'm gonna hop on with Davis later this afternoon for a little BR video. I think we're gonna talk some Thanksgiving stuff. Tomorrow, Swolecast, obviously. Wednesday, normally I don't have any shows on Wednesday, but because of the holiday schedule, things are flipped around for me. And we're going to do a special Thanksgiving edition of Off and On the Clock. So I got to figure out the exact time with that. I'll touch base with Nez and John probably early afternoon. So we'll have that on Wednesday. And then in the evening, we will have Ship Giving. So the annual show we do on Wednesday night over on the Ship Chasing channel. We got a bunch of people, the stat chasing guys. We're going to have Mike Shope. We're going to have Steph. We're going to have friends swinging by. Will be a good time. Gretch is going to be there. So that'll be Wednesday night. Thursday, no shows, obviously, because of Thanksgiving. So no lulls, no bash, and no fantasy live stream. Friday, we'll have the usual Friday afternoon. We'll have Off and On the Clock for the week 13 slate. Crazy to say that. Week 13 slate and Bully the Sims. No Uticow, though, this week. Shit, my money's going to fill in for him. And then my idea is on Saturday night for After Dark, because we're not doing Bash Thursday. Saturday night, I'm going to do Bash style. So we'll have people hop on. We can build some lineups together. We could maybe do a little variety Bash, draft some teams, maybe build some DK lineups, build some Splash Sports lineups, etc. Live with Davis this afternoon. I got the vibe that it might be a pre-recorded video, but I'm honestly not sure. People are talking about the Gibbs things. Weeks like this are pretty annoying when you have when you have to get the 101 in order to ship. I guess I kind of agree. To me, it's more annoying when it's like a later guy that you had to have, like if it's a 5th rounder who's taken in 100% of drafts, but most weeks shake out like that to an extent. I mean, not to the extreme of Gibbs. I guess I kind of agree. Like the fact that JSN goes off and his score is like completely useless. Like we just looked at so many top lineups and JSN wasn't in a single one. So I get that. But when it's like the clear 101 goes off, it's like they were the 101 for a reason. We were doing that. So in that regard, it doesn't tilt me too much. You think about like your portfolio on the whole. And whether, if you draft 100 lineups, it immediately is getting whittled down to the best plays, no matter what. So this one just whittled it down to, again, assuming you were taking Gibbs at the 101, 1/6 of your portfolio is all that matters, or all that had a chance, which truthfully isn't that much different from any other week. But I get the tilt. Trust me, I get it. And yes, Hawkberg, thank you for this PSA as well. And we can do a little Turkey Day stuff here as part of our look ahead, but it is rake free, the main contest this week. And the lobby, like I mentioned earlier, is completely full of contests. And where's the main one here? The turkey. So these are 4-person drafts, $7 entry, 35,000 entrants. So this is like the main BR equivalent for Thanksgiving, except of course 4-person drafts instead of 6, 30,000 up top. But there you can see it here, 0% rake, meaning every single entry fee is going to the prize pool. We talk about this kind of stuff in the masterclass a lot too. Like if you are, being very picky and choosy with your game selection, like this is your tournament. This is your tournament. It effectively is removing, opponents, relative to a typical, tournament where you essentially have to finish that much higher to beat the rake. That is not in play in this contest. So take advantage of that. Excited to draft the turkey and all of these other contests this week. Let's see here. We are going to look at the 12s. We got to look at the 12s here. Shout out our final Dawg Bowl qualifiers here. We have 3 new finalists. Dark Sheep, who punched a ticket last year. Dark Sheep came on Battle Royale Bash a few weeks back. And I love it too, because Dark Sheep has always been a big double stack guy in the 12s. He talked about it on the show. That's how he punched his ticket last year. I believe it was a Brock Purdy double stack. And look at this. He goes right back to the well. Jameis Winston to Wan'Dale Robinson and Theo Johnson with the Jahmyr Gibbs bring back. Highly correlated team playing the Alpha 101 and then the trailing game script double stack behind it. Gets Genties 20.8 points, and then Zay Flowers as a one-off piece, 9.4, 148 points, punches the ticket. ChrisGee punches his second ticket of the year, so he will have 6 drafts at the Dawg Bowl instead of the 3. This was a Jalen Hurts to Devonta Smith team. Had Jahmyr Gibbs, of course, Emanuel Wilson, Wan'Dale Robinson, and then Noah Fant as his scroll down tight end. Look at that. Going to the Dawg Bowl despite 1.4 points from Noah Fant there. Incredible stuff. But when you hit on Wilson and Wan'Dale Robinson and you get them all in the same lineup with Gibbs, you're cooking. Cognition takes down the 3rd spot with a Dak Prescott, naked Dak Prescott, I guess has A.J. Brown as the bringback. Gets 6.8 points from Justin Jefferson, but has the Jahmyr Gibbs, Emanuel Wilson combo, that combines for 75 points. And then Theo Johnson at tight end. And of course, I see it here in the chat. Keith says pain. And then lo and behold, he is the bubble boy here, just less than a point or 2 points shy here, and had the Brissett, naked Brissett, Gibbs, Wilson, of course, Olave, Wan'Dale Robinson, Tyler Warren. There, man. This is what happens too when you're this close, as you start thinking back through different plays. Tyler Warren, I remember when he caught that screen pass and hit the open field, and I thought he was going to house it. And I think he had kind of like a shoestring tackle that tripped him up. But man, very good lineup here. All kinds of friends and family near the top of the leaderboard. JJFC close up here with a Dak Prescott to pick and stack. Chad up here trying to get his second seat. Look at this. Shamiri DK, 1.84%, 18.9 points. Man, Dak Prescott skinny with the Devonta bringback, but Shamiri DK, what a sick scroll in the 12s. Gunner, who's been hanging out in the chat in the comments of a lot of these shows, also up here, had the Kareem Hunt play, which we haven't talked about. Yes, that was pretty strong at 18.5 points. there. Dave, who has been close all season as well, has the Dak Prescott to George Pickens, but gets sold out here by Justin Jefferson and Taysom Hill. G-Man, G on fire here, has another team in the top 10 with the Gibbs Wilson combo there. Another JJFC, 2 in the top 10. What a week. Crutches sniffing the top of the leaderboard again. And then, of course, Nez as well. Nez with the double swap lineup. Jameis swap and a Jacobs to Bam Knight swap there. Definitely feel bad for all of these guys who have put together such strong squads this year. I mean, 2 for top 10 JGFC, Dave, Nez, all the guys who just came narrowly close to punching a ticket. It's a sick contest, but congratulations to all the winners. And I'm excited to meet some of the new faces and hang out with you guys in KC in just a couple of weeks. The Flea Flicker, who took down Flea Flicker? Top fantasy plays, Caleb to Naked Caleb. No, Caleb to Colson Loveland. Okay, that'll play. Jahmyr Gibbs, Javonte Williams, AJ Brown, Alec Pierce. How many points did DJ Moore have yesterday? Because he did not get selected basically at all. I did not see him on basically any of the winning lineups, but now I want to see how many half-point PPR points DJ Moore had yesterday, because what did he have, 2 touchdowns? Yeah, 20.9 points from DJ Moore. So that certainly would have played the Caleb Williams to DJ Moore stacks. 42 combined points. Not too bad. There's Nez. There's Galen in the top. All right. Let's see. Should we do some best ball stuff? I saw Steven referencing on Splash. I do have a team near the top of the leaderboard here in the tiers contest. And this is the team, guys, that I hand built at the end of the cram. So this is in third place. It's slightly tilting because it is 0.14 points out of second. And I had Devontae Adams going last night. So I just literally needed one more catch or anything to jump up into second. But yeah, this was the team I built on the cram. I had actually made my 15 lineups and I was like, let me just clear one of these and hand build one on the stream. It was a Hurts, Barkley, AJ Brown with the Pickens as the tier 8 guy. Obviously Gibbs and Amon-Ra there in tier 2 and 3, McBride in 4, Adams here in tier 7 scores those 2 touchdowns. So nice to beat Tate 81 down here in 6th place. And there's definitely some stuff that can charge tonight because of CMC. But if you scroll down here, it's going to be really hard for the CMC stuff to gain ground on the Gibbs and JSN teams. I have one team in 43rd with CMC. So yeah, I have a 192. So even with a 30-point score from CMC, it's still not displacing this 3rd place team. So I'm having a decent team or a decent week in the tiers contest. What? This is a disgusting suggestion, David. Where did you come up with this? Crazy potential smaller 1 entry contest. The overall top scoring player gets auto swapped post games. Man, you want to talk about tilt. Then you have this weird dynamic of people sidestepping some of the top plays in round 1. I don't even know how that would work. Do you know what it would probably do? It'd probably make elite tight end and elite quarterback even more valuable, because those guys can separate at their position yet still are dogs to be the highest scoring player on the slate relative to running backs and wide receivers. But that's a pretty sick discussion or idea there. Okay, let's see what we're gonna go. Let's go back and do some best ball stuff. My main sweat right now is in the Big Eliminator, and I do have Jahmyr Gibbs on that team. So I'm going to assume I'm going to advance here. This was the big pod week 23 people in the pod this week. I'm sitting here in 5th right now, so I should be completely good to advance here. 130.62. It's a Justin Herbert, Bryce Young, Stafford team. So I do have Young still going tonight, but getting Stafford there and surviving the Herbert bye week is nice. The running backs on this team, Gibbs, Aaron Jones, Ramondre, Tank Bigsby, Kyle Monangai, Raheem Mostert. I've been like worried about this running back room every time I pull it up on stream. Obviously not worried about Gibbs, but Jones and Ramondre have been hurt. At least they're both getting back into the swing of things now, except JJ McCarthy is kind of crushing everyone in that offense. Based on how Barkley's running these days, I kind of would like to see some more Tank Bigsby. Kyle Monangai has been a massive help. He obviously popped up for the big game against the Bengals when Swift was out, but he keeps scoring touchdowns, which is really nice to have. Even just these 10 points are nice. And then Mostert here, we'll see what's going on with Genty. I know he left that game with an ankle, might be able to get a little Mostert there. So this running back room still feels fairly fragile, but the wide receiver room, again, this week could have been pretty dicey in that Ladd on bye. Tedoroya plays tonight. Pickens has a big game. Jawan Jennings plays tonight. Addison does nothing. Coker plays tonight. Hopkins 2.3 points. So this team is pretty strong. And then, McBride takes care of business with Dalton Kincaid out this week, 12.4 points. So feel fortunate to survive this. Going to be glad to move past the Chargers bye, since that Herbert to Ladd stack is pretty big. But yeah, excited to keep it rolling here in the big elim. Next week is a 4 of 6 advance there. And I believe the prize is going to be jumping from like 1,500 to 2,500 if you advance from there, if I'm doing my math right. So yeah, pretty fun stuff in the big elim, and we'll see if we can keep it rolling there. Oh, my bad. Yeah, let me check out Huhames here, and we'll I didn't get to see you in the Engage 8, and then we'll come back to looking at some best ball stuff. Engage 8, there you are, Huhames. Hurts. Oh, had the Tyrone Tracy at 0.3%. That's some sick stuff. He looked good yesterday, man. He had that big play in the open field, definitely running with juice. Nice lease or new lease on life for him with Scatabo getting hurt and turning into our foremost Twitch streamer. But very nice lineup there. Huhames with the Hurts, AJ Brown, Pickens, and then Gibbs and Tracy in the same game. 6-6 scroll. Yosh, 5 gifted memberships. Thank you, sir. I assume you had a good day. Anytime the Lions roll, I know you got some action on Gibbs and Amon-Ra, so hopefully that worked out for you, sir. Yes, Monangai has had very timely games for me. That is certainly the case. Let's see here. What else do we want to look at? The top BBM team, the Bash team, we pull it up every week, but that thing was cooking yesterday. Absolutely cooking here. It's up to 1,665 points. Let's see what that is overall in the contest. So 531st overall. This is the Herbert, Stroud, Daniel Jones. So we barely even got quarterback points this week. Got to get Stroud back. But the Gibbs, JT, Breece Hall, Woody Marks, Brashard Smith, that running back room continues to stay healthy and just popping off, like ping-ponging the ceiling weeks for Taylor and Gibbs. And then JSN continues to be a revelation. Sutton, Debo, Jerry Jeudy, Higgins is starting to come on too. Davis Mills missed him a ton the other night. Keenan Allen, Tesla. So other than JSN, we didn't have a ton going at wide receiver this week. And then Kelsey, Ferguson, Jonnu. I remain very excited about this team. Would be nice to get Stroud back and healthy and ready to roll. All right. I am going to pour some more coffee here And then we are going to look at some more teams here. Oh, but yeah, shout out to Yosh. 2 of 2 in the elim again. Holy cow. Yeah, we got to pull that up on bbmdb.com here. That is awesome. There you are, right at the top. Steampunk Mario. Look at that. Went up against, your opponent took zeros at quarterback. That is the kind of pod luck RNG you dream about. And wow, Cam Ward scored 23.9 points yesterday. Wow. But man, that Puka JSN, man, this is a sick team too. Look at the ceiling at all spots other than basically tight end. Drake May, Josh Allen at quarterback, Jonathan Taylor, Trevion Henderson at running back, Puka JSN, Devonta Smith at wide receiver. Incredible stuff, Steampunk. Incredible stuff. We are all rooting for you here. All right, let's see here. What else were we going to look at? We can look at my overall portfolio after this week. Let's first do Best Ball Mania. I am just where I've been, basically 26 advancing. I think I've been hovering around that number here a good bit. Expected 28. So trying to think, who are the how many Gibbs teams do I have? Let's see. I have 15 Gibbs teams and have advancing 7 of them there. Have a couple that are in the hunt. Let's see. Who else went off yesterday? Who's someone interesting to look at? Let me look at the overall portfolio here. Best Ball Mania 26, big board 20% advance. That's right at expectation. Puppy right at expectation, or slightly above base, I should say. Schnauzer 2. Still doing pretty good in some of these smaller field contests here. I think I didn't even realize it. Someone told me that I have the best team in the Dalmatian, or at least I did before. Let's see. Where's my Dalmatian team? Yeah, this team is first in the Dalmatian right now. Dak Prescott, Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers, Jonathan Taylor, Jalen Warren, Quinshon Judkins, Braylon Allen, Miles Sanders, Woody Marks, Jamar Chase, George Pickens, Devontae Smith, Deebo Samuel, Stephon Diggs, Romeo Dobbs, Jalen Knoll, Trey McBride, Tucker Kraft. There you go. Let's see if we can win the Dalmatian. Yeah, Dalmatian, I'm advancing, or in first in 2 of 3. What else am I looking at here? Chow Chow's going decently here. Got a few in the mix. Michael, how can you choose all of the contests? So there's few tabs up here. There's Eliminator, there's Leaderboard, and if you go to Portfolio, it's this first tab here that you can see on the screen. Just type your name in and you can see for all of the contests and your best team. Shout out, as always, Patrick Donovan, the man behind bbmdb.com. Very fun to check it out. Do I have any Devin Neal shares? That's a good question. I'm guessing maybe 1 or 2. 5? No, 21 teams. Okay. I guess I had forgotten about Devin. You know what it was? It was early in the offseason. It was drafting a lot of Devin Neal and then just kind of stopped when Kendre Miller kind of emerged. And it was like, wait a second, Devin Neal might not actually be the RB2 there. And then I think I just almost completely stopped taking him. So yeah, there's 21 Devin Neal teams. Yeah, was Jameis Winston on on any teams here in BBM. Actually, let me go over here to BBM. Jameis Winston is on 134 teams. What does a team who took Jameis Winston look like? Let's see the best Jameis Winston team. It's a Hurts, May, Winston, Jonathan Taylor, Cook, Scatabo, Roshan Johnson. You know what? It's so funny. Like, I have these flashbacks to stuff, and I remember when the Giants got Jameis Winston, and there was a lot of initial enthusiasm for him. And then it was like, is he even going to be the QB2 on this roster? And then I think cooler heads prevailed and most people stopped taking him. But it is funny to see him on some of these teams here. Losing Scatabo though, man, such a buzzkill for some of these teams. Rico Dowdle. I wish I had more Rico. I don't think I have a ton. Let's see in BBM. Yeah, I only have 4 Rico shares in BBM. That's not good. 2 of them advancing. This guy drafted Hurts in May and thought, do you know what I need? Is Winston. It is nice on one of my Rico teams after losing Scatabo to have him, Gibbs, Walker. Walker's starting to come on a little bit, which is nice. This team has the Darnold and JSN here. DJ Moore, like, we keep leaving him for dead and he just keeps scoring fantasy points. This is a rough tight end room, though. Almost as rough as it can get. TJ Hawkinson, Chiga Okonkwo, and Will Dissly. That's impressive. That's truly impressive. We can scan real quick and see which. I mean, not a ton of movement in what's advancing. Bash with all the guests. Mike Leone, Ian Harditz, Mike Leone, Best Ball Breakfast Solo, Pat Moore, Bash, Ron Stewart, Deposit Kingdom Video, Chris Bash, Lord Reeves, Leone, Karain, Solo Best Ball Breakfast, Steph Miller, DK Draft with, is this MD? Was this Michael Dubner? Is that which one that was? Let's see. My Best Ball Breakfast, Don't Discuss Draft. My Team with JM advancing. Best Ball Breakfast with CL. I always forget some of these acronyms, and then you guys have to remind me, who is CL? I'm blanking now. My Team with Emo still advancing. Best Ball Breakfast with BG. Who's BG? Who's BG? Who's CL? I really did myself a disservice with some of these acronyms that I can't remember. Best Ball Breakfast Solo, Mathology, DK Video. Oh, here's Best Ball After Dark with Michael Dubner. Oh, yes. Liam Murphy, Chess Liam. Yes, thank you, guys. Can you imagine if I win a milli with Chess Liam? All right. I think that's enough hawking the Best Ball portfolio. Good luck to everybody who has sweats tonight in the Eliminator. And yeah, should be a good one here with getting 3 games on the short turnaround for Thanksgiving. How did FFPC teams do? So yeah, we're kind of down to just a handful of teams that are, in the hunt. It's our 2 best teams are the teams with Gretch and Sean. Our team with Gretch, I believe, is already almost locked up the 1 seed here. Even though we're going to get the loss here. But yeah, this team with Gretch is the one that has Jonathan Taylor, Brock Bowers, and Devontae Adams, Drake May at quarterback. Tootin, what a pump fake on Tootin. We take the 0 from Addison, but we still have Ted Arroyo going tonight. This is a really strong team. We just could use some kind of breakout here on the bench, but been able to use Troy Franklin a good bit. Would love to see RJ Harvey continue to become a factor, which I think he will be. So yeah, have a lot of high hopes for this team. And then our team with Sean is awesome as well. Although probably going to lose this week, but still in really good shape. This one has Mahan Tootin as well, Jalen Warren, CeeDee Lamb. We didn't talk about it, but man, those drops yesterday by CeeDee Lamb, he now is tied across the entire NFL with Jerry Jeudy for most drops. Very frustrating game for him, but JSN, Harold Fan. And speaking of Jerry Jeudy, how are we still starting Jerry Jeudy here? Oh, because Devon Achane was on bye. But should be getting Trey Benson back. We have RJ Harvey. So this team, and we have Gadsden. We did lose Laporta on this one, which hurts. But with Gadsden and Fannin, we still should have some juice at tight end there. And then our team with Leone in the 5K. This team just keeps battling, trying to survive the injuries. But we have CMC going tonight and Tetaroya, so we should be good to get the win here. The thing that really stung this week is we played Tootin over Kenny Gainwell, which hard to know. They were very close in projections, and obviously if you knew the usage, you would have gone Gainwell in retrospect. But yeah, Gainwell scores 18.2 and Tootin only scores 1.7. So that stings, but I think we still should be okay. We're projected to win by a healthy margin thanks to CMC and Tetaroya tonight. So our teams with Leone, Gretsch, and Sean Siegel continue to look solid here. All right, Guillotine. Let's check in on some Guillotine. I think I might be getting chopped in one of my final. I have two of my teams that I've been showing here. We'll check in on those, but let's first check in on Deposit Kingdom and Ship Chasing here. All right. This is the Deposit Kingdom. Let's go over to the live scoring here. Chopkins here has a score of 87, but does have a player going tonight. Next in line does not have anyone going 106. So this is a pretty clean spot as far as needing 19 points here from Tetaroya. Okay. So that'll be a pretty good sweat. You're probably a slight dog, I'd say, but man, San Francisco, is this you? Okay, Mookie. I with the usernames, I never know who is who, but yeah, need 20 from Tet. That's a pretty good sweat. Gonna need him to find the end zone, but if he scores, you should be live. I mean, he smashed this last week, so good luck here, Mookie. Otherwise, who's going home? DeMoney is going home. Oh, wow. What a spot start by DeMoney. Wan'Dale Robinson, 30.6 points with the bagel from JMO. Whoa, didn't play A.J. Brown. Wow. Justin Jefferson, man, DeMoney, I'm not going to lie. I got to question some of your start-sit decisions. I would not have been able to play Jefferson, Rome, or Wan'Dale Robinson over A.J. Brown. Wow. Okay. Good luck tonight, Mookie. Let's see here in the Ship Chasing. Who is going to get chopped here in Ship Chasing? I think it was Steph was down here on the bottom. Yeah, 91.72 here for Steph. And is she fully done now? Okay, so is this already done? Yeah, no PMR. Oh, no. Okay, so Chop Demon here has 62.18, but has 2 players to go tonight. So that's what? Just short of 30 points with Tetaroya and Rico. Okay, so that's a very similar sweat to Mookie there. Need a big game from Tetaroya and Rico. Otherwise, Steph will be heading home. Steph has been hanging on here, and she loves Rico too. So having to anti-sweat Rico is certainly a bummer for her. B-Zigs, thank you here. Incredible stuff. Chunk the Deuce doesn't know how he didn't get a gifted membership, because look at how many. Let's do some math here. 10 from G, 10 from Coolers. That's 20. Hoohames, 5, 25. B-Spurf. I missed this one earlier. Thank you, B-Spurf. 30 from B-Spurf total. Dat Mavis, 5. That's 35. 1 from Emo, 36. Yosh, 37. Am I doing my math correctly now? 36, I believe. And then Bezix, 42 gifted memberships, 42 members on the channel. Congratulations and thank you guys. B-Zigs, what did you have a shipper yesterday? Or are you just feeling generous? All right, let's go see this. I think I'm getting chopped in this one, although I have a ton of PMR tonight. Let me go look. So let's look at this scoring. Okay, so I am now projected to survive. I'm at 74 points right now, but I'm projected to score 119. This team here has 117. So what's my math? I can't even do math like this off the top of my head anymore. It's sad. 117 minus 74. Is that what I'm looking at? So I need 43 points from Brock Purdy, Tetaroya, and Kittle. Puka last night, 16.7 for me. Yeah, so I have a ton of PMR here. Jonathan Taylor, 8.6 hurt. I've been spending like crazy in this league, been trying to improve this roster week over week. Would really like to hang alive here. What do you guys think? 43 points, Brock Purdy, Kittle, Tetaroya. To me, it really comes down to Kittle, right? Because if Kittle cooks, it means Brock Purdy's going to have a pretty decent floor. Like Brock Purdy's pretty likely to get to 20 here. If I can get Kittle over 10, that's 30, and then I just need 10 from Tetaroya. It's going to be close. I do think Kittle is probably the key to making this all work. It looks like I didn't make any bad start-sit decisions here. I sat David Montgomery, obviously Purdy over Daniel Jones. Dallas Goedert only scores 4. Bucky perpetually hurt. Drake London out this week. That hurt. So we shall see if my skinny stack with the bring back can get it done here. My other team, though, has Gibbs and went just absolutely nuke. This is the Hollywood League here. We can victory lap this team that put up 163 points. Drake May, I doubled it up on the Lions running backs here. I was like, I know that these two are going to combine for 30, 35. Might as well just play them both. Thank you for your service, David Montgomery. Jahmyr Gibbs put you on your back. JSN, who I bought, was it a week ago or 2 weeks ago on waivers? Zay Flowers, Brock Bowers, Henderson, Breece Hall. I had some like tough start sits here. I was like Zay Flowers or Devonta Smith. I picked wrong there. Didn't even have room for ETN or Judkins there once I did the Montgomery thing, which I guess is maybe I should have just played the better projecting guy with ETN and Judkins, but I thought it was close. And then Herbert on bye. So yeah, feel good about this team. Really locked and loaded with running back options, so I can kind of play matchups there. And then basically can decide between Zay Flowers or Devonta Smith as my wide receiver 2 each week. Spanky says, I've been thinking that all season, but I just realized you have to turn on accept for memberships. Well, there you go. There you go. Let people know, Spanky, where is that setting if people also don't have that on? I like how YouTube has a setting that receiving memberships has to be consensual. You cannot just have a membership thrust on you against your will. No, I refuse to be a member to this channel. You must opt in to being a member. All right, so there's our Guillotine League Chop Watch. It seems I keep forgetting. I mean, I know we just looked at the George Kittle stuff and Tetaroya, but I keep forgetting that we have a Monday night game tonight because it just seems like everyone's mental energy has just fast forwarded to the Thursday slate. But we do have a Monday Night Football matchup on tonight. Let's. You guys got any pick 'em angles here? Any pick 'em angles? I did not get a chance to do any research on this matchup before the game, so I'm going to have to rely on you guys and my guy Josh. Josh had a sick one on the cram yesterday. It didn't, the other pieces we used it with didn't get home, but Josh flagged Jahmyr Gibbs, game high leading rusher at even money. And that was just the smash of all smashes. Unfortunately, what we paired it with did not hit. But here we go. We got Josh. He likes BRob rushing yards. So that's a good one. Tet receiving yards and Kittle anytime TD or ladder his yards to 69.5, slightly better multiplier. All right, let's dial this up. In Josh we trust here. Brian Robinson, 24.5. They have been using him a lot more here. Past 3 games, 53, 41, 24. That's a nice one. I will ride with you on that. Let's check out our guy, Ted Arroyo. Receiving yards, 65.5 is pretty high. Do we like receiving yards more than receptions? That would be my only thing. I might IKB. The other thing you could do is targets. His targets the past 4 weeks, 10, 6, 8, 12. I guess it is juiced a little bit lower, but I wonder, what do you think, Josh? What do you think about using either receptions or targets there? And then we do have the boost to help get this up there a little bit more. But 65.5 just feels a little lofty. Let's do targets is a slightly better multiplier. Let's do 7.5 targets there for Ted Arroyo. And let's see, Josh, then the Kittle anytime. Let's see the comparison. So anytime TD is 1.08. You can ladder the receiving yards up a little bit to 1.1. So it's basically the same thing, 69.5 or a touchdown. Let's do the yards. If we're playing Brian Robinson, Brian Robinson CMC used so much at the goal line there. Let's do this as our little core. We can boost it, get it up to a 7.7x here, and we'll rip it in. This is the Josh core. Thank you, Josh. Brian Robinson higher, 24.5 rush yards. Ted Arroyo McMillan higher, 7.5 targets. George Kittle higher, 69.5 receiving yards. There it is. Why don't we do a secondary one that's a funner slide for like Kittle and Ted Arroyo? Do Kittle, what's more fun for him? You could slide him. 8 catches is a 3.21 versus 99.5 yards is only 2.6. 8 catches is kind of fun. He had 9 receptions 2 weeks ago. I kind of like that, sliding him up to 7.5 receptions, kind of operating as the de facto wide receiver 1. And then maybe this one we go yards and play this a little bit more. That's pretty nice. George Kittle, 8 receptions. Ted Arroyo, 99.5 receiving yards. Yeah, don't worry. We'll definitely do a turkey draft. I'm in no hurry. I got nowhere to go. I got nothing to do. We can draft. All right, George Kittle, 7.5 receptions. Ted Arroyo. This will be the other one we play here. CD less salary than Pickens on Thanksgiving slate. What a world we live in. Wow. And I don't even know if it's not deserved, right? He's outscored him in 3 of the past 4 weeks. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Even Devontae Adams, man, continues to outscore Puka in a good majority of matchups. Pretty wild stuff here. All right. So we're good on Monday Night Football. Let's do this. I can't believe we already have. This is so funny. We have the Sunday Week 13 main slate is already up. We are going to do turkey stuff, but let's do our our weekly playbook draft. So we're going to zoom past Thanksgiving. We're going to go to Thanksgiving here in a second, but let's do a playbook draft here and see what we're looking at on the Week 13 slate. And it is always one of the most interesting weeks on the year, just because we are all, everything like is so the content is all focused on Thursday stuff. And so the turnaround to the Sunday main slate happens so quick. Everybody's in their post-Thanksgiving hangover phase on Friday. And so everything with regards to projections, to ownership, to content is all a little sluggish on week 13. But it looks like a pretty good, quarterback actually looks pretty weak. You have Josh Allen up top, and then you're quickly down to Herbert, Stafford, Baker, Jacoby, Brock, Aaron Rodgers, Darnold. So this is the all-pocket passer slate. Holy cow. Holy cow. Yeah, this says no Hurts, no Dart, obviously. Who are other guys that we don't have? No Mahomes, no Burrow, no Goff. Running back looks solid, though. CMC, JT, HN, Bijan, Cook up top. Who do we have at tight end? McBride, Bowers, Kittle, Warren. Tight end strong. Wide receiver, we get the JSN Puka combo up top. London, Adams, Olave, McConkey, Waddle. It's really quarterback. This is going to be a choose your own adventure slate at quarterback for sure. We getting Hampton back this week. It does seem like he was trending in that direction. All right, we have the 102. Indy, so Jonathan Taylor versus Houston or JSN versus Mini. I mean, Houston's defense has been so good, and JSN has been just absolutely lights out. I don't know how I don't take JSN right now. This was not on my radar. I did not see this. Dr. Professor saying, is it going to be Bridgewater? Baker look, he said concerned. I assume you mean concussed. Did Baker take a rough hit last night? I missed that. Jonathan Taylor, HN, Bijan go after JSN here. Oh, he hurt his shoulder, the chat is saying, for Bridgewater. Or for Baker. It's not great. Minnesota would kill for Teddy B right now. Puka McBride at the turn is fun. McBride's price going to stay just a little bit in check since he didn't go nuclear this week. Let's see. Speaking of nuclear, I guess Cleveland just gave Bowers some fits. Who do we want here? Kyron versus Carolina feels pretty layup-y here, but I don't love it. I need to find some of the other running back spots I like. Rico's down in the ranks because people are worried about the Rams matchup, it looks like. Wow, Bucky with an aggressive ADP, even with the Q tag. People excited about the matchup against Buffalo. They've been so bad against running backs. Jalen Warren up here. But, man, he's getting all the base work, but, man, his ceiling is just so capped with no receiving work. Like, Jalen Warren's profile, like, not having a single reception in a game like that is crazy. All right, this is a real – please take Bowers or Kittle so I don't have to choose between these two. What is Jefferson's ADP? Let's see. 23.6. All right. Brock Bowers versus the Chargers or Kittle. Kittle's going to go nuts tonight, and then his ADP is going to flip Bowers. So let's just take Kittle. Who do the Falcons play? They're at the Jets. Falcons at the Jets. Who do the Saints play? Saints at Miami. That could be a fun fantasy game. Igbuka really starting to fall. Robert, you're really pushing this Mooney agenda in the chat. I don't know if I have any interest in Mooney with London back in the BRs. Feels more like a 12-man play. Brian Thomas Jr. All right, let's see here. Genty Q tag. Judkins versus San Francisco. I don't think I'd do Rico and Kyron in the same game. Man, running back just got gross on me. It's probably ETN at Tennessee. I mean, Tootin barely used. ETN had 15 attempts, 3 receptions. Tennessee sucks. Let's play ETN. Rohan, I think London still misses a few. PCL spring and no reason to rush him back. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, they made it sound like it was just going to be a 1-week thing initially. But yeah, that's a good note. Yeah, B-Spurf, I think we will. B-Spurf saying we should get the goal line contest this week. So with Dawg Bowl over, we should get a bigger one. Is that already up or is it not up? Let's yeah, I was just looking at this. Michael Wilson. We could do like the Jacoby to Michael Wilson stuff that just keeps hitting. But again, the same thing is Harrison going to be back? Because that's the only thing about doing that right now. Is he going to miss 3 weeks with appendicitis? I think let's do Tedoroy. I think I know the Rams aren't the easiest matchup. But we'll play the mini correlation opposite Kyron. And if he has a big game tonight, he's going to move up a little bit. Let me see though. Was no goal line stand up this week yet? I guess we don't have the main BR yet. Yeah, they just have the playbooks up. But yeah, I think B-Spurf, I think we're going to get a pretty big goal line stand. I mean, I want to say when Charlie won it, and Charlie, line of scrimmage, if you're in the chat, let us know. When you won it in week 14 last year, wasn't it like a $20,000 top prize for goal line stand? It was something legit. All right, who's going to be our quarterback? This is the question. We could stack up Brock with Kittle. Again, there aren't a ton. You could do Bryce Young versus Tedoroy. That doesn't feel good. I guess Darnold at home versus Minnesota to JSN actually probably feels the best. I don't necessarily love Brock outdoors at Cleveland. I think Darnold home versus Minnesota sounds good. Little revenge game? Little Sam Darnold revenge game? Alex saying Vikings have to bench McCarthy this week, right? It seems like, I mean, it's such a tough spot for the organization. You basically are kind of in the spot that the Panthers were in with Bryce Young, right? Where they start him out and he's just so bad that they're like, you just got to sit down, little man. It's Andy Dalton time. But then you leave the door open to start him the following year and give him like one more crack at it. And that's kind of what happened. You know, Bryce Young had shown enough to kind of hold on to that job. I don't think McCarthy is even at Bryce Young's level, which seems crazy to say, but yeah, I don't know. Like, cause you do risk in those spots, like losing the locker room, and guys like Justin Jefferson and Addison, who has been rendered completely useless in this version of the offense. At some point, you can't look your players in a straight face and say, I'm doing what's right, the best for our football team by playing JJ McCarthy right now. All right. So there's our playbook. Always fun to check back on these. We'll circle back in 1 week here and see how this did. But yeah, let's do a little first look at some turkey stuff. Rake free. Let's hop in and we can see what we're looking at. So 4-person draft. So 4 quarterbacks are going to get drafted. This is always a slate where at the onesies, you can get some really low ownership on QB5, QB6, tight end 5, tight end 6. So Lamar, Mahomes, Dak, Goff, Although all of these other quarterbacks, basically Goff, Burrow, and Love all have really similar ADPs. So the ownership's probably going to be spread out on Goff, Burrow, Love. So you have like 100% ownership on Lamar, Mahomes, Dak, and then probably split like 30% with a slight tilt to Goff, and then Burrow, Love. But that makes it a very fun quarterback slate. We just saw Jameis light up Detroit. So, here we go. Back again on Jordan Love. And then Burrow versus Baltimore, who you can certainly throw on. So, yeah, as far as QB5, QB6, pretty strong. Tight end, a little sketchier, but this is just completely flat. Kelsey, Andrews, Ferguson is certainly a tier. And then you're down to the Brock Wright, Gesicki, likely tier there. So, certainly flat at tight end. Running back is okay. All right, we're on the clock. We can keep going through this. I am going to take, do you want Ja'Marr? Yeah, Ja'Marr Chase with no T. Higgins at Baltimore, Burrow back. Yeah, I think you can make the case for Amon-Ra here. I mean, you are loaded at wide receiver. This is a loaded wide receiver slate. Amon-Ra, CD, Rashee Rice, George Pickens. Yeah, this is a good question. What do you do with Lamar? I mean, I think you play him. Home versus Cincinnati, nutted matchup there. He's not going to run, which is, been frustrating, but he's going to have clean pockets. Cincinnati, I think, has the worst pass rush in the league. They're not going to have him under pressure at all. All right, I think we're definitely starting two wide receivers here. Who do we like? Let's do Rashee at Dallas. We just saw A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith have pretty good games. I know Dallas has been a little bit better. But Ja'Marr Chase, Rashee Rice. And there you go. Pickens goes ahead of Lamb in this first draft. Yeah, Don says, gotta love Gesicki this week with Burrow back and Higgins out. I actually want to pull that up and look at the split between him and Noah Fant. So I know who I'm taking if he's here, because I'm taking a running back for sure. Because running back does, I guess it's I wouldn't say it falls off a cliff. You have like Javonte and Chase in a tier, and then Kareem Hunt and David Montgomery in a tier, and then it really falls off. So Javonte goes, I think Chase Brown is just like an uber smash at this ADP on this slate. I mean, just an insane workload, like full-blown bell cow workload here. Yeah, so you have a tier 1 of Gibbs, Henry, and then Jacobs, assuming he goes. Tier 2 of Javonte, Chase Brown. Tier 3, Hunt, Montgomery. And then just complete clutch your rosary beads and pray tier. So all of the tight ends are still available to us. I think the play here, I mean, KC has been so stubborn with Kareem Hunt's usage. He had 30 attempts. I'm going to take Kareem Hunt as my RB2 here. I will say, I'm just doing my first draft, and this is the first I've looked at the slate. I'm getting excited about drafting a lot of these because I can see how many different paths there are to lineup construction. I think running back feels like the thing that's most straightforward this week, but then at least with some of these deep wide receiver options, there's some good kind of angles here. Getting Jaden Reed back would be a very fun wrinkle to this slate. So all the quarterbacks still hanging around. The team in front of me has already taken their quarterback. This is going to be a Joe Burrow team for me for sure with Chase Brown and that. So I can take my tight end here first. And so I do think I just take Jake Ferguson. Definitely a projection gap from him to Brock Wright. So we'll play Hunt, Rice, and Ferguson in that Dallas KC game, and then we'll do Joe Burrow to Chase and Chase Brown, no bring back. All right, I promised checking in on this usage for Fant And let's go ahead and look at the comparison tool, and we can just look at week 12 here. Let me make my pick so I don't hold people up. All right, let's do Gesicki, and let's do Fant. This is the Fantasy Life Utilization Report comparison tool. Yeah, Fant 67% of the route, or sorry, Gesicki 67% of the routes to 18% for Fant. So yeah, that's pretty big. 23% targets per route run for Gesicki, 18% of the targets, only 3% of Fant. So yeah, that was not a tight end by committee at all. Way better ADOT, solid air yards. Yeah, Gesicki steps back into a pretty solid role there. So I'm with you guys on that. I think of this tier of tight ends, basically after these big four, so Kelsey, Andrews, Ferguson, actually that's its own tier, but then you have likely Brock Wright and Gesicki probably in that second tier. I do think Gesicki's probably the most interesting there. Especially with no T. Higgins. You know, if T. Higgins were playing, it would be a lot more thin, but those splits continue to be pretty nice back-to-back years now that if one of Chase or Higgins is out, Gesicki steps into a pretty elevated role. Let's do another one. So yeah, just to give you guys a quick overview of the lobby. So there's the turkey. This is the rake-free $7 entry, 30K to first. There's the tiny turkey, which is the equivalent of the hurry up. This is $3 entry, 5K to first. There's the big turkey, which is the bomb equivalent, $100 entry, 444 entrance, 6K to first. There's the dirty bird, which is what, the third and long equivalent? No, oh, this is the winner take all. We have not had this on the slate in a while. I still have flashbacks of the winner take all from the divisional round weekend last year where I missed winning it by like a point. But yeah, $8,000 to first and nothing to everybody else, but 456 entrants. Not bad, not bad there with the dirty bird. Turkey reverse is the double reverse, so the $2 two max contest top 5 win. We got the stuffing, which is the fullback dive equivalent, $25 entry, 5 max here, 5K to first. We got the mashed potatoes, $5 8 entry max. Okay, so this is the Engage 8 equivalent here with the mashed potatoes. We got the green bean casserole, $15 single entry. Do we have an equivalent of this? I guess this is like the extra point there, green bean casserole. And then there's afternoon slate, the cranberry sauces. I will admit, I end up not getting to the afternoon slates, but who knows? Maybe on Thanksgiving, there will be a little cranberry sauce in my future. And then there's a late slate, leftovers playbook. So we are locked and loaded, guys. Very, very fun slate. Always enjoy this one. And yeah, the 4-person drafts add a really unique wrinkle. And I'm going to be doing research later this afternoon on this slate. I'm going to have a few different things. I'll have a column up on Fantasy Life, my typical weekly column for Battle Royale strategy. It's going to be the Thanksgiving slate this week. So you can keep an eye out for that. And then, like I said, tomorrow, we're going to have an off and on the clock, or sorry, Wednesday, off and on the clock for this Thanksgiving edition. So we'll have plenty of Thanksgiving slate specific content and strategy for you guys here. And I'm excited to dive in and see the best way to attack it. But from that quick glance, and we'll hop in another one here, but feeling like this will be a pretty fun slate to draft. Having 6 like viable quarterbacks, because there's slates. Who could you get on? You have like a fucking JJ McCarthy on here. You have a Tyler Shuck on here. You have a Shadur Sanders on here. Then it's just, kind of a buzzkill. But if your worst quarterback is Jordan Love on this slate, you're in good shape there. Running back strong, wide receiver fairly deep. Maybe Bateman comes back. That could be interesting. He's always like a decent dart throw on a short slate. I mean, hell, even Mitch Tinsley scored a touchdown Someone on the cram yesterday mentioned Mitch Tinsley as their favorite wide receiver play, and my jaw almost dropped. And then I'm like, hey, scored a touchdown. Tip of the cap to whoever shouted out Tinsley. Any that include the Friday game, they don't. That would have been a pretty sick wrinkle. What is the Friday game? It is, Bears, Eagles. That would have been a fun thing to make it a 4-game slate there. Kind of like a divisional round slate. People do love having it settled, though. We are, in fact, going to take Jahmyr Gibbs 101 here. This is a good note from B-Spurf. These contests fill so fast. There was 4 turkeys last year. Yeah. I wonder if they made it a little bigger this year. I mean, maybe we could go look here. Let's do some research while we're drafting here and see if we can maybe estimate if this won't fill quite as fast. If I can get these to load. Here we go. Conference championships, Christmas slate. Thanksgiving main slate. Does not look like I did good on the Thanksgiving main slate last year. Let's see here. How big was the turkey? The turkey last year was 40,000 entrants. So it is a little smaller this year. So yeah, that's a good note. If it's smaller, 35,000 entrants and rake free, yeah, this one's going to fill fast. Should we double up running backs here? Man, is there, I don't even know. Like my heart of hearts right now say Chase Brown is the RB2. Let's do Lamar and Chase Brown. What do you guys think about that? My gut says Chase Brown, even if Josh Jacobs is back, is going to project better than Josh Jacobs. Do you guys think that's crazy? Oh, there you go. The leftovers has Friday game. There you go, James. The late slate. Good morning, Angelina. I think I had a good Thanksgiving 2 years ago. How sad do we want to be? Do we want to go back in the archives 2 years? Let's see what you needed last year. So there was a chop up top last year. 123.44. Oh, man, this takes me back. This was back when Jonnu Smith was just on the tear of all tears, 16.3 points. Caleb Williams to DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. So it was a classic double stack. Josh Jacobs, Rico Dowdle. Rico Dowdle. Wow. Those were the good old days. Those were the good old days. So we have Lamar. Of course, I'm going to do Zay Flowers here. I'm just going to chalk it up in this first one. Let's do Zay Flowers and J-Mo. We ain't scared of no bagel. And then we'll come back and figure out tight end. Yeah, people talking about double tight end. Yeah. So I think you are going to probably be sacrificing a decent amount of projection doing it. You know, the thing about double tight end is if you were able to do it as your second wide receiver, then I think you're really cooking. But it's also like, yeah, I guess I can see it. Like if you miss out on the David Montgomery pick here, and then you're down to Wilson, assuming Jacobs is back, Pacheco, assuming he doesn't play, Brashard Smith barely has a role, Malik Davis, Keaton Mitchell. Like, yeah, I could certainly see the merit in grabbing a Gesicki or a Likely. So yeah, I'm with you, and it'll definitely be unique. We didn't have ownership percentages last year, so I'm curious. I can't remember if any of these guys in the winning lineup were not or were low owned there. But yeah, Caleb, I want to say Caleb was one of the lower owned quarterbacks, but I can't remember that far back. All right, so we have Lamar, Zay. Let's do Likely. We'll double Lamar in this spot. For sure. For sure. Double tight end is more viable on DK to unlock the top receivers. But I do think I do think there's if you go wide receiver on this slate, like let's see if we can find an example. So like David did here. Or no, how about a better example here for Falcor? So they go Amon-Ra and Pickens. They grab Mahomes and then Kelsey, and then Watson here. So this is a bad example. Say they had gone Wilson first, and then we're deciding what to do with the last. You're starting to look at like a Watson worthy versus a tight end like Gesicki or Likely, depending on like who your quarterbacks are and what correlations you're trying to set up. I can certainly see it. I mean, my hunch is if I get in 150 of these, who knows if I will. Did I get in 150 of these last year? I did. Looks like I got in 150. I would guess maybe I would have 2 tight end on, I don't know, 7 or 8 teams. Like nothing crazy. But I think it's worth bringing up on these shorter slates. So there's the second team: Lamar Jackson, Zay, Isaiah Likely, Gibbs, and Jamison Williams there. You guys want to do one more? Yeah, I'm going to have to get cracking on these drafts. Can't have the FOMO of the rake-free contest filling. So it's already at 3,981 entrants. 11.1% filled. And we got the 1-3. So we've gotten different draft slots for all of these. Yeah, Caleb QB5 last year. That sounds about right. Yeah, I don't think he was the 100% owned drafter. Yeah, this is such a strong first round. Love it. To get Chase, like this looks like it could basically be the first round on a regular BR slate. Gibbs, Chase, Amon-Ra, Lamb, Rice. It's a bummer we don't have like a Kittle on this slate, but it does make it so that you're going to need the right tight end for sure. It's like most of these guys are probably going to score 6 points, and one of them is going to score 12.5, and you're going to need the guy who scores 12.5. All right, we did Chase before. Let's just, out of boredom, after 2 drafts, let's do Amon-Ra here. We'll do Amon-Ra at home versus Green Bay. At this point, should we have Pickens ahead of Lamb? I don't think it's crazy. Here, I'll do it for you. I'll take Pickens. We did a Rice Chase, and now we'll do the Amon-Ra Pickens. This is definitely a contest in these smaller slates where you're going to really want to be, if you're getting in massive volume, you're going to want to track your combos. So yeah, like I'll be using the solver for this, which will be very, very helpful. Come in here, can sync that, and then be able to keep track of, well, obviously I have no Amon-Ra and Pickens teams yet, but you can see your exposures, and then the combo percentage here will be very helpful. By the way, if you're interested, like in the solver, I did an After Dark with Galen, who is one of the main guys behind the solver product, and he's been having an awesome year in the Battle Royale streets, but he had asked him a lot of questions about stuff and how he uses it and all that good stuff. Highly recommend checking that out. I don't want to get shut out at running back. Let's go ahead and take Javonte. So we'll have Javonte and Pickens here. Oh, E. Moser is saying Caleb Williams is QB4 because we had Cooper Rush and Drew Lock on the slate. Goodness. And then, so behind me, I think E. Coxer with Rice is going to take Mahomes. So I think I'm good because I'm going to take Dak. So I can probably sit on Dak. And then let's go 3 wide receivers with Zay. So we'll go Zay coming back. And then we can kind of just figure out tight end after that because B-Spurf's already behind me with tight end. Tight end definitely seems like quarterback and tight end you can really push, it seems like on the slate. Tight end specifically. Because like the safety you're getting from Kelsey and Andrews is probably more of a mirage than anything else. I mean, you're gonna need the touchdown on this slate. Yeah, Gesicki Burrow. That's a fun last couple picks there. And the ownership discount on those guys is going to be pretty meaningful. Will be interesting to see when projections come out if some guys get steamed up. Yeah, I'm with you. This is the most gorgeous slate of the year, and we get it on Thanksgiving. I mean, my only, having T. Higgins on it would have been really nice. All right, so we are going to take Dak here. And then yeah, we can do Gesicki. We can do Gesicki. I think that makes the most sense. So we go Dak, Javonte, George Pickens. We fade KC. We play one off Amon-Ra, one off Zay, and then grab Gesicki as our tight end. I like that squad. Yeah, I mean, we've known that the Bengals tight end is like the ultimate flowchart spot. I mean, it was basically just the Steelers 2 weeks ago that didn't do much, but that's more so because the Steelers are running a 3-way tight end committee. But yeah, I mean, I'll pull the DVP tool up here. Fantasy boost to opposing tight ends, Bengals plus 8.4. Next closest team is Dolphins plus 3.5. So again, like the issue you're running into is just the Andrews likely split. Let's see what that split was this past week. So we did our Fant and Gesicki splits. Let's see, how is this Andrews and likely split looking? I just want to look at this past week. All right, so 69% of the snaps for Andrews, 45% for likely. Higher targets per route run for likely and same amount of targets. So that is pretty notable. 60% catchable targets, likely 33%. Higher ADOT for likely 14 to 9.7. In zone targets, this is kind of the rub, right? Like likely probably needs to do more like after the catch to really smash, and Andrews can kind of bink some of those short touchdowns, and they're also using them on the tush push. But yeah, I think likely's definitely on the menu. He's definitely on the menu on this slate, and pretty good leverage too. Like Andrews will be 100% drafted. Likely is going to probably be what, like sub 25%, sub 30% at most. And he can certainly swing the tight end slate. So yeah, I think playing the flow chart, playing the leverage, I like that angle. Chosen Deezer has had enough. He said, you know what? You've gone 2 hours. I've had enough. You know what? I think I've had enough as well. Actually, I could sit here and draft teams for a while, but I need to go to the bathroom, and I want to start researching the slate a little bit more and get some stuff prepared here for the article and upcoming streams. Like I said, I'm going to hop on with Davis later today, and I think we're going to talk some more BR Thanksgiving slate. So keep an eye out for that. And as a final, not final reminder, but as another reminder, Underdog Masterclass. If you guys want to check it out, we are running a Thanksgiving sale, 40% off underdogmasterclass.com. If you're looking to get a discount on the course, now is the time to do so. It's the cheapest the course has been, and the cheapest it will be. So if you want to, send it as a gift to someone, can you imagine getting your significant other the Underdog Masterclass as an early Christmas present. I mean, talk about partner of the year right there. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your Monday. Congratulations to all of you guys who crushed yesterday. Shout out again to G, to Coolers, to Who Ames, to Spurf, to Dat Mavis, to Emo, to Yosh, to B-Zigs, all the gifted memberships. You guys rule, and we will we'll lock in for this Thanksgiving slate. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.